Hey guys, so we're in the simulator right now. I'm going to try to show off a pretty interesting flying technique. Um, Actually, it's a flying technique that you already know and already use, but we're going to try to apply it towards some more advanced moves. And what's interesting is it's going to kind of work out. It's going to be a little surprising how well it works, in fact. Um, so what's this move? Or what's this technique? Well, first of all, you can just go to a hover and try to do a quick flip. It's harder for me to do in this simulator with a helicopter, but imagine yourself doing a quick flip. Um, when you do a quick flip, at any point, are you imagining yourself upside down? Um, the quad's going inverted. I mean, are you imagining yourself upside down? The answer is going to be, no, you're not, right? You do a flip, but at no point are you imagining yourself keeping orientation the entire time with the quadcopter. Yet, um, yet you consider yourself to have had orientation the entire time. I guess another way to show this off is you can go and you can fly along in a straight line. Imagine yourself behind the aircraft, um, and then at some point do a quick flip, and then continue flying on. You were imagining yourself behind the aircraft, so did you go upside down? Like the answer again is like no, you didn't. Yet, did you ever lose orientation? Again, the answer is no. So somehow you're able to do that flip, yet um, you're not paying attention to it. You're not maintaining orientation, yet you think you have orientation. Like there's something weird going on here, and it might seem somewhat obvious at first, but the neat part is we can replace that flip with more advanced moves, and it kind of works exactly the same. We don't even attempt to maintain orientation. We just do the move, and it kind of works out. And yet and the entire time we'll feel like we have had orientation. We never have lost it. Um, Kind of sounds weird, right? But why does this work, right? Well, what's special about a flip? If we look at a flip, it has three important qualities, I guess. First of all, it's somewhat fast. It doesn't take that long to happen, so that's not a lot of time for things to go very wrong. That's important. Second of all, the beginning and ending position of a flip are essentially the same thing. That's important. And third, the flip is a single continuous movement. There's no different parts of it. We don't change up what we're doing halfway through. We begin the flip by rolling and we continue rolling until the flip is done with. These three properties are all, properties of rotations, a single rotation. So what we're going to try to do is take that flip and replace it with different single rotations. And we're going to find that they're all kind of interchangeable to some degree. So first of all, let's look at what are all the single rotations we could do. So we're in the air here. Um, Speed-wise, I'm going to try to do them as fast as I can with helicopter, but with the quadcopter, I would maybe be going a little bit faster. But so let's look at all the rotations. Let's start with the roll axis. We can roll to the left, and we can roll to the right. With the pitch axis, we can pitch forward, and we can pitch back. And then we have the yaw axis, and here's the first interesting one. We spin around, right? And we're trying to treat this, and this is very key. And this is what you'll probably have to practice. This is an area you'll have to practice at first. We're trying to treat this single yaw spin the same way we treat a flip. We're trying to not pay attention. Inherently, unconsciously, when you do a flat yaw spin, you'll try to be maintaining orientation the entire time. You'll come nose in, and your brain is going to divide by zero and get a little bit confused. What we're trying to do though is not pay attention. You're going to have to do this many times, but you're going to have to teach your brain to treat a single flat yaw spin the same way it treats a flip. And in my opinion, the way to learn this is you simply go in the air and you hover and try to spin around quickly. And as soon as you start rotating, stop making any inputs with your right stick. Don't roll or yaw or pitch at all. Just keep spinning and wait until you come back to nose out and then make new moves. Don't try to make corrections when the quadcopter starts to come nose in. That's like the first step, but it's really, you want to try to just make it like a flip, quick spin around, one spin around. Yeah, no thought process involved. Um, this is something that might seem like a easy thing to do, but when you actually try to do it, your brain is going to want to maintain orientation and it's going to get confused when you come straight in. If you're treating it like a flip though, when you come in, your brain is not thinking, you're not getting confused. Your brain should never get confused when doing this because you should be treating it like a flip. I've repeated the same thing like 50 times now. I'm not sure how else to say it. But so those are the three axes, right? Roll, pitch, and yaw. And we should try to be able to treat them all the same way we do a single quick flip. But there's more rotations we can do. Those are the rotations using a single axis. We can rotate using more than one axis. So let's try to do roll and pitch. We're going to do a diagonal movement, right? And we're going to come around. Helicopters are really slow, but we're going to try to do diagonal movements. You can see on my transmitter, diagonal movement, I am I'm pitching forward and rolling to the left. We can do all combinations. We can pitch forward and roll to the right. And we can pitch back and roll to the left. And we can pitch back and roll to the right. And all of these moves, if you watch them, the helicopter is doing a single continuous movement that has the same, and the ending position will pass back through the starting position. It's exactly the same as a flip. This is again like something you need to then kind of practice. It has all the same qualities as a flip does, except we're just using two axes. But you got to try to teach your brain to treat this the same way as it treats a quick flip. So that was the roll and the pitch axis, right? But we can use any pair of axes. So let's try to use roll and yaw. We're going to yaw left and roll left at the same time. Get in our hover, and it's essentially like a little funnel, right? We're doing like a single funnel. And we can yaw right and roll right, and we can funnel the other direction. And then here's kind of the interesting part. Like we can also yaw left and roll right. So the sticks are going away from each other. And we can also yaw left and roll left, or yaw right and roll left. This is really confusing. But it's basically you pinch the two sticks together, you pull them apart. And it's kind of like a backwards funnel. But again, the point of all of this is that these are all single rotations. They have all the same properties as a flip, and we can treat them all just like we do a flip. We're not trying to, you can try to do this move. Don't even look at the helicopter in the air. Just look at the sticks in the little, the little on-screen display, and try to make them and spin around. And you'll realize you're doing the moves that are so straightforward when you look at the sticks. There's nothing complicated going on. The quadcopter might look like it's doing something complicated, but it's not. So that is, what is it? Yaw and roll. But we can do yaw and pitch. We can pitch forward and yaw left. And like, what does that look like? Well, it doesn't really matter. We're going to treat it like we do a flip. We're just going to do it and something happens. And we do once around and then we stop. We can do pitch forward and yaw right. And we can pitch back and yaw left. We can pitch back and yaw right. And all of these, you go around once and then you're back at the starting position. They have all the same properties as the flip. You can treat them all. You have to train your brain, though, to treat these all the same way it treats a flip, where we just sort of pause, trying to maintain orientation, let the single rotation complete, and when you get back to the starting position, we again then continue flying like nothing had happened. And we can actually, so that's all pairs of axes. What we can also do is we can use all three axes. We can pitch forward, roll to the left, and yaw to the left. And like, what does that look like? Well, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to do a single rotation. And like, that's what it looks like, apparently. You can do all of them. Here's pitch forward, roll right, yaw left. And then you can do the back ones too. It's harder to say than just to do them because who cares, right? You just make the finger movement. You do once around, and you're back where you started. You can treat it just like you do a flip. Um, and so now you can work on this because it's super interesting in my mind. There's like a second level to this. This is like part one is kind of being able to replace quick flips with these other single rotations. Um, there's a the, so when you look at a flip, you take a flip and it's a quick movement around. If you slow a flip down, you take a flip, kind of that's as fast as I can do it with this helicopter. Take a slow flip, but if you slow it down, a flip turns into more of a loop, right? You can take all of the those fancy flips that I showed, all those other rotations, and you can slow them all down and treat them like you do a loop. So here's our 3-axis: pitch forward, uh, roll right, and yaw left, going slower. And it looks interesting, right? I mean, that looks like an interesting movement. And once you kind of get all these moves down, you can slow them down. You can start to you can turn them into fancy loops. You can then start chaining this stuff together. And so this flying is I am just doing different pairs of rotation one after another, and it's hard to know what it's hard to keep track if you look at the quadcopter of like what's going on. But uh, I need exact. I was doing this is better. But the point is this is all like single rotation. I'm just switching up what the rotation is, but it's just one rotation after another. And the quad always passes back through the starting position. And it looks like I'm doing complicated stuff, but this is super mindless. I have no idea what the quad's really looking like, or what the moves I'm doing are looking like, or are going to look like. But it kind of just all works. So all of this, I am not maintaining orientation, or I'm not imagining myself behind the aircraft. I am only when it kind of like reaches the end position do I again start paying attention. Um, but I'm doing all these moves, and yeah, so I mean that's the technique, right? This isn't the greatest how-to guide, but it's more just to give you an idea of something to try to do on your own and see how well it works. I would say maybe beginning of the summer. In fact, I was at this I was at the point where I didn't feel like I was getting any better. I knew some moves and I was refining them a lot to get better at them, but I wasn't really adding any new moves. And then Joe Lucid, I'm actually mispronouncing his name now that I think about it. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to. He added I-term rotation to quadcopters, and that let you do this like flat yaw spin, and the quad would not like start getting all wacky. It would just keep spinning at the top. And as soon as he added that, then all these fancy flips started to feel possible because they're just single rotations. And if the flight controller is not introducing any new airs, new source of air, it's just a single rotation. You don't even need to be changing your inputs. You're not trying to correct for the flight controller's mistakes. It all just kind of went from something that was impossible to something that seemed surprisingly straightforward. I don't want to say it was easy, but it was just straightforward. It was something that I could practice and get better at. And since then, all these moves, I just keep doing them, and I don't know, it just keeps working. Like this is how I'm doing this stuff. This crazy movements where it's hard to even keep track. I'm just simply doing single rotations, and chaining them together. All of them are single rotations, but the exit positions are similar, but the direction, the inertia of the quad is slightly different. So when you try to chain them, like certain ones go together better than others. But yeah, I guess what else? I think that's it. Trying to quickly think of anything else interesting to talk about. I guess not. Yeah, this is an idea. I'll make maybe more how-to videos. If you find this helpful, let me know. That's it. Hit stop.